Hello everybody, my name's Llama Joe and welcome to my channel. We are back with the letter. This is part 16, I believe. Hopefully I got it right. If I got it wrong, I am sorry, but I'm pretty sure that's the right thing. So, we ended on a little happier note, started off a little dark, a little deep with the last one, so let's keep on going into this. They're cooking some food. So, this, I think there was actually a journal entry, right? Yeah, there was. Okay, next. Isabella saw Zachary taking an unknown medicine and, concerned, asked what it is for. He admitted he's suffering from a trauma ever since his parents were killed in a hate crime. Isabella could only offer him a comforting hug. To lighten the mood, the two decided to cook breakfast afterwards. Yeah. I really don't know what medicine it would be. If it is an antidepressant or if it's something else. Despite the massive effort to keep the mood light with small chatter, cooking ends up being mostly a quiet affair. Between us, the consistent clapping of the knife against the board and the muffled noise from the television I left running, words have become surprisingly difficult to string together. Not entirely unusual. We've had moments like this before, but definitely unnerving with how things are now. I really wish someone else will come knocking at the door. As pleasant as this is, breaking the ice or keeping a conversation going has never been my forte. That has always been Isabella's or Rebecca's department. Sometimes Ash's, although mostly coming from him border on awkward or embarrassing. Speaking of the guy, he never did call back, and I'm willing to bet my entire yearly salary that he fell right back to sleep after that call.
Sorry, Bella. Could you...
Yep, I got it.
Uh-oh.
The potatoes are almost ready, by the way. I turned down the heat just in case. You might want to check on them, though. Hold on, I'll be right there. Sheesh, wait up. If you keep rapping at the door like that, you'll break it down. Ash.
Oh, good. You're awake.
Oh, it is Ash. Okay. I was a little worried. I was like, oh, maybe it's not Ash. Maybe it's her. She's come to get you. Ash has already welcomed himself in when I take my eyes away from the oven. He's never been really keen with the notion of courtesies after he's warmed up to you, this guy. All 13 of my locks he broke can attest to that. Wow, alright. He's a good fellow, though. Hopefully he's replaced the locks that he broke. Maybe a tad bit standoffish at first glance, but he's trustworthy.
Don't you have work today?
I could ask the same of you. Hey, Izzy, man.
You're late. Something came up? You need to drop the Z-Man. It's getting old.
Sorry, I got caught with something at the precinct on the way here. Had to attend to that first before things got out of hand. I'd tell you about it, but you know how it can be with those kinds of things. Later, maybe.
And you're here because...
What? I'm not allowed to say hello?
Nope.
I doubt you're here because of that. And you're not answering my question.
Ah, my bad. Forgot to mention that. He called earlier looking for you. Rebecca's worried because you didn't come home last night.
You could have called my cell instead.
You weren't picking up. Anyway, I'd really hate to cut this little get-together short, but I need to be somewhere else. Come on, Isabella, let's get you home. I'll drop you off on the way.
Wait, we're going now?
He lightly claps a hand on her arm and begins ushering her out of the apartment, throwing a casual wave at me as they pass. Isabella, on the other hand, doesn't appear too fond of the idea. And sure enough, before they can even cross the threshold, she puts a firm foot down, the force alone enough to halt them both and catch the taller man off guard. It would have made for a funny picture. The way Ash almost crashes into her and Isabella giving him an indignant pout over her shoulder. Surprise and confusion are in his face, all at once, two things that rarely ever grace it, if he can help it. A rare moment, even for our small group. If only I have my camera with me. Dang. I mean, it's sitting right there. I didn't have it on him, though.
What is it?
Zach cooked something.
If it's just food, I'll get you something on the way back.
But the food! It's Zach's cooking. Real delicious food that actually tastes like food. At least stay and have a bite, please. Zach, help me here.
These two. Whenever they are in the same room, sometimes it feels like herding a group of unruly kids instead of talking to two mature adults. One moment, they're engaged in a pleasant chit-chat, and the next, they're bickering over a minor issue. Frankly, if I didn't know any better, and I have an overactive imagination, I'd say there's something going on. Yeah, there definitely is. Never mind how utterly impossible that idea is. Not that impossible. Or it might just be me reading too much into things, like always. I can already hear Ash's laughter if I so much as suggest such. This, however... Let's eat some food. food should never go to waste.
I don't know about you two, but I think you guys should really stay. I've already made enough food for all of us, and it'd be a waste.
Kissing Isabella? Yep. And Ashton. It seems that went up for Ashton. I mean, you know, we cooking some tasty foods.
Why, I cooked up that special honey glazed ham you two keep on yapping about.
Ooh.
Got some scalloped potatoes with onions and cheddar to go with it, too.
Doesn't really sound much like a lunch, but, I mean, a breakfast, but it sounds definitely like a lunch or a dinner, but, I mean, hey. Oh, God, that was really loud in my ears. The oven timer dings. I shoot the two of them an apologetic look before sauntering over the kitchen, mittens in hand. The sweet smell of the glaze and the salty tang of melted cheese wafts through the air as soon as I open the door and take out the two trays inside. The scent immediately fills the entire room, and even with the door and windows open, the mouth-watering aroma lingers. It's appealing enough that when I put the dishes down on the counter, another starved stomach protests loudly, followed by a burst of laughter. My head snaps up at the two of them, and I can't keep back the smile at the sight they make. Isabella is clinging to the doorframe for support, doubled over with breathless laughter. Ash is the more composed of the two, trying to look unconcerned, but a flush has crept up his neck and cheeks. It's clear whose stomach that came from, and Isabella's not going to let him live this down.
You're in no place to reject an offer of free food, Frey.
I wasn't rejecting anything. Damn it, I just missed a meal, that's all.
Aw, he's flustered.
Shut it! Those guys at the precinct said it was urgent. Somebody has to be responsible for it.
Well, aren't you precious?
Right. You know, if you keep laughing like that, you'll burst.
I'm sure it won't be as bad as your stomach suddenly rumbling like a starved.
Aye, kiddos, play nice. Food's gonna get cold if we keep this up. Ash, you gonna stay?
Might as well, since Scaredy Cat's so hell-bent on staying.
Yum. Man, that does look good. Look at Isabella's face. She's like, food. We eventually settle down after the food has been served. The jibes replaced by another round of friendly chatter, mostly about what's on the news the night before. There is, however, a conscious effort to avoid mentioning what's currently on the headlines. The dead is never a good topic to talk over food in polite company, this case in particular. The wounds are too fresh, too soon. I'd likely avoid it as well if I were in her position, and someone I personally knew passed away in a gruesome manner like that. Though perhaps the closest we got to broaching the topic is when the infamous mansion is brought up again. But even then, we are careful, Ash and I. We keep the conversation light and avoid bringing up her late business partner. It's the least we can do.
The Wrights? Yeah, they're planning to move in soon. In fact, they already have a housewarming party planned. It's why they wanted us to rush the papers. They wanted to send the invitations out as soon as possible.
Oh, now I get it.
Get what?
Remember what I told you last night about the new clients?
Vaguely?
Ah.
Sorry.
So
I was
he,
a little out of it yesterday.
he has not seen Hannah yet.
Was it the photo shoot?
Yep, it's actually for the one you sold. Ermagerd.
Ermagerd. Ermagerd.
When you put it that way, I suppose it makes sense why my boss wants me to prioritize the couple. If they can have those documents rushed at just a snap of their fingers, then they're more influential than I initially thought.
Well, they also gave a little side cash there as well.
And I guess my boss is expecting a lot more from this project than I expected. Hope I can live up to it.
Your photographs are more than good enough, Zach. You'd probably win an international award if you let yourself. Ma'am Hana's easy to please, too. As long as you're good at following instructions.
Yeah.
Easier said than done. Different clients have different tastes after all.
Still, a week? I don't think that's possible.
Now that you mentioned it, yeah. They wanted everything finished at the earliest. To be honest, it's not unheard of, but...
But it's still weird. Still weird, yeah?
Why is it fishy? A slip of the tongue. Still barely noticeable to someone who's already familiar with Ash's ways, yet in this moment, it's impossible to miss. I shoot him a curious glance, but he ignores it. I mean, clearly there's something going on in the mansion, which is why he was there during her open house and why he's there in the future at Hannah's party, but I don't know. Rather pointedly.
I can't exactly say it's like that, where I'm just the middleman after all. As much as I want to comment on it, I only know what's on the surface, not the in and outs. It's just that BRC and my boss are more hands-on with the legal stuff this time. despite having a separate department dedicated to it.
I'm so
Maybe
glad she's
Mr. Wright
alive.
helped with it too. They have their own legal team for this, don't they?
So glad she's alive.
Well, they should have one. Especially for a big property like this.
They have, but like I said, it's off our hands. Rose and I don't handle this stuff in the office. If anything, to me, this just means I'll be able to send the rest of the funds to Papa's treatment earlier.
I guess that makes a whole lot of sense. Officially off our instant noodle diet, aren't we?
Ash, has anyone ever told you that you have an uncanny way of ruining the mood?
Oh, I didn't even see her face change in the picture. That's cool.
What? I was just saying. A few more months of stuffing your face with those, and I'm sure you'll start to look like a noodle cup. That's a pretty picture.
At least I don't live off convenience store food. Or make poor, unassuming pressure cookers explode.
What? How did you... Oh, come on, Zach.
Sorry, it just came up while we were cooking earlier.
I'm impressed, Ashton Frey. You even made it to the news.
A one-time thing. And it wasn't as big as you seem to be imagining.
Oh, sure. Let's all pretend that one time you almost set my apartment on fire didn't happen too.
Hey, that was an accident.
You were making a salad, Ash.
Can we please move on to a different topic?
It helps. The casual talk, the harmless teasing, the mundane stories, interesting enough to let time pass unnoticed. By the time lunch ends, the shadows are no longer at the forefront of my mind. If it's the same for Isabella, for whatever troubles her, I can never tell. These things, the anxiety, the fear, they ain't easily seen, ain't easily forgotten after all.
You go on ahead. I've got a few things I need to ask Zach.
I can still go.
I'll be downstairs
I
in a
got 4
minute.
minutes left. Scene changed over, but I'll find a good place to stop. If I go a little over, it's fine. Confusion briefly flashes in her eyes as she catches the keys he tosses over, but he doesn't give her an answer and waves for her to go ahead.
How sure are you I won't be driving away with your Shirley?
You don't even have a license. Do you even know how to?
Papa taught me how. I'm probably a better driver than you. See you later, Zach. Thanks for the food.
Always has to have the last word, don't you?
You're welcome. I'll send you the recipe for the potatoes tonight.
A grin is back on her face when she leaves and closes the door behind her. For a little while after we're left alone, Ash goes wholly quiet, listening, waiting for her remaining footsteps in the hall to fade. The earlier amusement is gone from his face, replaced by what I can only describe as trepidation. Okay, I want to hear this. This is going to be important. So, if we go 20, 25 minutes, I'm sorry. Might be a little bit longer episode, but I want to hear what happens on here. I know that look all too well. When he's like this, he's expecting shit about to go down at some point soon.
That wasn't very nice, Ash. What was that with Isabella earlier? You're usually subtler with your questions.
They hired you.
Hired me who? Don't change the subject yet. What's really going on here?
The Wrights. Luke and Hannah Wright. You said your next gig is with them.
Are they suspects? Is that...
Is that what this is all about?
I mean, Luke's a real dickhead, so if he goes to jail, I don't really care.
Just be careful around them. You have no idea what you're dealing with when it comes to that couple. I'd rather you stay as far away from them as possible, but you're already here. Isabella's their real estate agent. Seriously, of all the people in Luxburn.
Okay. I guess I'll just have to take your word for it.
Doesn't happen. Spoilers. He nods, claps a comforting hand on my back, and turns to leave without another word. He's never been good with those. More often, he fumbles with what he wants to say, but his actions alone are enough to tell me how grateful he is for the trust. He reaches for the knob as soon as he gets to the door, but doesn't turn it. Instead, he looks back and gestures with his head towards the table. I don't need to follow his line of sight to know what he's going to ask about. He's likely taken notice of it the moment he entered the room.
You back on those? I haven't seen you taking them in a year.
Yeah, I kinda had to. It got worse after the film fest. The dreams, that is. I don't think I'll be doing that again anytime soon.
Heard about that. Don't drop it, though. You don't want Becca scolding you. She actually enjoyed the movie you made, and she's hard to please. Consider that a small victory.
You don't have to tell me. She already did.
Yeah, she let him have it.
Rebecca and Bella both gave me an earful after I said the opposite. Promised them I wouldn't, but you can never tell. Hopefully, once I feel better, I'll be able to think about it properly.
There you go.
Speaking of Bella, she didn't open up to me, but maybe with you and Rebecca.
Yeah, I'll try. I can't promise anything, but I'll talk to her.
Thanks. That's all I'm asking.
This time, when he reaches for the door, he lets it close fully behind him without glancing back. A mild draft sweeps into the room as I close the door behind him, slightly disturbing the papers on the nearby fridge. A lone note flutters by my feet, the letters on the surface glaring at me with mute intensity. Ashton arrived to fetch Isabella hours later, but she didn't want to leave after all the food they prepared. In the end, Ashton... Man, I hate this word. I don't know what it means. Acquiesced and stayed. The Wrights and Zach's upcoming gig were the few topics touched during their talk over breakfast. I want to say acquiesced is the right way to pronounce it, but I don't know. You know what? Let's stop it there. I'm at my time anyway, so this works out perfectly. I think I know what that letter is, but we'll have to see and find out. So, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like, and I'll do the best I can to make it right. I'm Llama Joe, and I'll catch you guys later!